John Bolger with Premier Guitar, and today we've got a very special guest, my buddy Richard Brent from the Big House Allman Brothers Museum in Macon, Georgia. Man, can't thank you enough, brother, for coming on by.
Oh, my pleasure, man, my pleasure.
And bringing this, the Holy Grail. I'm so nervous playing this guitar, my hands are sweating. In fact, take it before I drop it.
Ah, man.
So this is Brother Duane's 57 Goldtop, the guitar I've dreamt about my entire life.
Yeah, man, this is the Layla guitar.
Ah, right.
Duane used this on the first two Brothers records, self-titled, Idlewild South, and of course Derek and the Dominoes.
Yeah.
But the first time this guitar was actually used was on the Boss Gag sessions, the Loan Me a Dime sessions.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Now, was that at in Muscle Shoals?
It was at Muscle Shoals Sound.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so at Muscle Shoals, he was just a kid, right? Camping out, basically living in a tent.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I know he had a Strat for when he started there, but that's when he got this one.
Correct. And so yeah, he gave up the Strat for the Les Paul, and obviously all the amazing songs he recorded with this guitar that are on the first two albums, and then of course the Derek and Dominoes. And then the story with this guitar is that in September of 1970, just 7 days after recording the song Layla itself, the brothers played a show in Daytona, and Stone Balloon was the opening band, Rick Stein was the guitarist, and Rick Stein had a cherry burst. We say it's a 59, but the truth is we really don't know, but it's either a 58 or a 59.
Sure.
So Duane talked him into trading guitars, and Duane kicked in $200 cash, a 50-watt Marshall amp head. He then took Rick out to eat, and while he had Rick out to dinner, he had a couple of roadies swap the pickups on the guitars.
That's great.
The original pickups to this guitar are still in that cherry burst. And matter of fact, when you listen to the song Layla, you hear this guitar first, but the Jim Gordon coda section at the end, that's the cherry burst, because that was added 3 weeks after the trade had happened. But it's the same pickups through the whole song because he had them swapped, you see.
Wow, man. I wonder, I want to go back and listen now and hear, can you hear a difference?
Well,
I mean, different amp setting or different.
Yeah, I mean, if you were able to bring it up in the mix high enough, you may be able to. But to be honest with you, you get lost in the just their playing.
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever seen the Tom Dowd documentary, The Language of Music.
Yeah.
And just to watch him get lost in it all over again when he's fiddling with the board, that's priceless. I mean,
right, when they solo it out, and you hear that when he's just skydogging it all the way up there.
Yeah, man. So.
That's too cool.
Yeah, but then this guitar was then bought and sold 4 different times over the next 7 years. Fast forward to 1977, this guitar turns up at Coastal Discount Music in Daytona, Florida, and it was just the shell of a 57 Goldtop. The parts and the pickups were missing, but the face had been stripped, but the original finish on the back, everything was intact.
So how did they identify it? Was it the serial number or?
Well, Billy Powers was a local musician. He knew the guitar, and he's the one who called the owner and said, "Hey, Duane Allman's Goldtop's down here, and you should think about buying it." And the other thing was this inlay on the 15th fret. It's got a pretty dark spot, and inlays are like fingerprints to a human, so no two the same. But we actually, each inlay has its own unique markings and characteristics to them. And so they were able to match every inlay up to this guitar. So not only, we always talk about this one, but they were able to match every inlay. Yeah. And matter of fact, if you go to Muscle Shoals Sound now, because it's open to the public, they have a picture of Duane with his guitar in that studio, and it's blown up. It's massive.
Yeah.
And when I was there with this guitar for the first time since Duane, I was able to just for myself to hold the guitar to the picture and just move the strings, and it was just in your face.
Really? Is it the one where he's sitting down?
Well, this was the one where he's got the whiskey bottle and a little devilish grin on his face, you know. But yeah, I mean, to be in that room and the bathroom where he's sitting right there in the corner with this guitar, and so yeah.
That's great, man.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, so we're at the Big House. We're honored to be able to display this, and obviously we're as fans, we're thankful that the owner likes for it to be played.
Right.
He has the mindset that it's nothing worse than a good guitar behind glass wasting away. So.
Well, and there's been a ton of great players that have played that guitar.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, Vince Gill, Steve Vai.
Yeah, Derek Trucks, Warren Haynes,
Yeah.
J.D. Simo,
Right.
On and on and on. You know, and some people I've taken it to just because, you know, Gary Rosenden played it recently.
Awesome.
I put it in the hands of Charlie Daniels. You know, Charlie is instrumental to the brothers, you know.
You know what? I wonder if Charlie and Rosenden played it back in the day, like backstage when they're all on the same bill or just hanging out. They might have.
Well, this guitar was long gone before that, but maybe some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one, this is the one that got away, they say. But, you know, and some people question, you know, some people don't understand why it gets played. You know, first of all, it's not my decision. The owner wants it played, so, you know, God bless him. But the other thing is that this is the guitar that Duane traded away, you know. So, you know, at the same time, Duane didn't really, you know, it was a tool. You know, just like a hammer to a carpenter.
Yeah.
You know, so Duane traded this guitar away. So I'm not saying it didn't mean that much to him, but obviously he thought more of the Cherry Burst, or at the time he did.
At the time.
And I also think that, you know, had things worked out differently, that maybe, you know, had he lived longer than 24 short years, that he would have sought out this guitar again to get it back. Or maybe it would have found its way back to him. Who knows? But,
right. Now, we did a rig rundown recently on Derek Trucks, and Derek mentioned that he's got a 57 that you were instrumental in.
Well, I was able to be a part of that, and Derek actually has, this is serial number 73312, and Derek owns serial number 73311.
Wow.
And they have identical necks. Now, what you people don't, unless you played it, what you don't understand about this guitar is that this is a super slim neck profile for a 57 Goldtop. And I like to think that's a lot of reasons why Derek, you know, likes it so much.
Yeah.
You know, him being an SG player.
Right.
The neck is kind of similar to an SG. But yeah, man.
Yeah, it just feels amazing. And I love the Grovers. Did
Duane had Grovered it out.
Yeah.
Originally, it would have come with Klusons back in the day.
Which kind of self-destruct, you know.
Yeah.
And those guys played them hard. So I imagine they were. Some of them had played out anyway.
Probably so, but yeah, man, that's just the upgrade that most everyone does. But you know, this is just truly a magical instrument. The tones that come out of it, the sounds, it's like none other than I've ever heard. I mean, you know, every guitar has its own voice. You know, it's kind of like a car. You can get three of the same model, but they're not going to handle the same. And it's the same with guitars, and so, you know, everything, you know, about this guitar is special. But this piece of wood, it's extremely light to be solid bodied.
Surprisingly light.
Yeah.
I mean,
it weighs 8 pounds, 10 ounces.
I wonder if that's why it's so resonant. Maybe that.
I'm sure that has something to do with it. But you know, it's just, again, you know, it's just certain pieces of wood just seem to be better than others. You know.
Now, did Duane rap over the top?
He did.
Yeah, that's how I like it too. Just, I don't know if it feels different, but I did it because he did it.
That's usually the response I get. Well, Duane did it, so I did it.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how low the action is on this thing, man. It plays like a dream, you know?
It does, and that's what most people say about it, that they can't believe how well it does play. You know, not that Les Pauls don't play well, but just it has a flow about it, and it's just it's easy.
Yeah, yeah, it's
easy.
easy, and I wonder if he ran it a little bit higher for slide, or if it was pretty close to this.
I think it stayed pretty. I mean, now I've got this set up just the way I like a guitar set up.
Right.
You know? I mean, when he had it, you know, it's hard to say. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, during the final Beacon run when they brought back in 2014, you know, we did have all three of Duane's Les Pauls together for the first time, which was
Cool.
pretty amazing. And
Yeah.
we sit up all night in the hotel room that night. You had to have the Goldtop, the Cherry Burst, and the Dark Burst all there together. But they were all pretty close.
Man, well, I know that Derek has his action pretty low. I mean,
Yeah.
and he's always on slides. So, you know, it's, boy, and the amazing thing too about what people forget about PAFs, you know, people got into the big overwinding, but man, they're almost kind of, they got such clarity to them, you know?
Yeah. Well, especially that neck pickup.
Yeah.
The neck in this register is another thing that's so special with this guitar, that a lot of your PAFs will get a little bit muddy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But this set doesn't.
Yeah, that's just so clear. And then you bring up the volume a bit. They just clean right up again. Wow, man.
Told you, man, it's special.
Now, you were saying, you're saying so when they rebuilt this, pickups were gone and stuff, so you found some new PAFs.
Yeah, those are the original 57 PAFs, but they actually came out of a Birdland.
Really?
And for, I'm no guitar genius or anything, but what I do know is that the pickups were slightly different in the Birdlands. The pole spacing.
Huh.
So,
wow.
You know, again, this piece of wood is just something special, but you know, those pickups are pretty special themselves too, you know, that are in it. But now I've heard this guitar stand up against, original Burst, and it holds its own, because most people out there, it's either Burst or nothing, and some people look at Goldtops like, hey, you know.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Man, Goldtops are great. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's gold.
Yeah, it's like they got it right the first time. Yeah, that's too cool, man. And all the sounds.
I mean, even Leo Fender himself, when he gave Eldon Shamblin that Strat, he painted it gold.
Oh, that's right.
And
That's
Gibson
right.
Goldtop gold.
Yeah.
That's a sign of money, sign of success. You know.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, his Strat. And that was like one of the very first early ones.
Oh yeah.
It was like the first. That was like the first endorser of a Strat.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he made
Played
it
it the
go.
whole time.
Yeah.
I've been fortunate enough to see that guitar a couple times.
Really?
It's wow.
Yeah.
uh,
Man, this thing just feels so good, and I love the way, like that. Let me get a slide on this thing. But it just gets so clean, you know. I mean, that's just so perfect. Wake up, mama. Turn your lamp down low. Yeah, just sings. Now, I know that right now we're running into this Fender Supersonic. Brother Duane, of course, mostly a 50-watt Marshall guy, which you've got at the big house.
You've got one of them, yeah. it belonged to the brothers. Certainly he played through it.
Yeah.
And that particular one, it owns to a local doctor in town, and it looks a little funny because the amp was actually stolen later on.
All right.
And the kid, he was a kid at the time, when he stole it, he took it to his buddy's parents. His friend's parents had an upholstery shop.
Oh.
So to kind of cover his tracks, he took it there, and they tried their best to, make it look not like a Marshall.
Yeah, right. Well, and also at the big house, you've got that. Is it a bassman or a
Showman?
Showman.
Yeah.
That was Duane's. That.
Yeah, we got one of Barry's and we got one of Duane's, and one of Duane's is stenciled Heartbreakers because Ron Blair, the Blair family is still in Macon, and so Ron had asked Greg after his brother's death, of course, that could he borrow the amp because he just got a gig with a band at the time was Mudcrutch, but then when they became Tom Petty and Heartbreakers, he got the bass gig. So.
Oh, that's
So
great.
he used the amp, and he returned it to the museum when the museum opened in '09. So they had soft opening in '09. So
Oh, cool.
yeah, he was kind of send it back, and so it's cool. And the best part is it still works. They all work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Speaking of amps, aren't you guys? The big house is doing a deal with Little Walter, right?
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. I met Phil Bradbury, who owns Little Walter Amps, and I met him at a Vince Gill show, and we just started talking. And I just told him, I said, as long as I've been associated with this Goldtop, I said I've always kind of wanted to have an amplifier for the house, like a big house amplifier, but kind of base it on this guitar.
Sure.
And so that's kind of, in a way, that's what we did because, granted, just not everyone has a '57 Goldtop at the house.
Right. Yeah.
So it was important that we base it on a lot of different guitars. But yeah, so it's a fundraising effort for the museum, and we're going to debut these amps at NAMM in Nashville. The one coming up, and so we're only going to make 24 of them. And I got to tell you, it's a great amp. It's one of the best amps I've ever heard.
That's great. Are you going to have it set up? Have one set up at
yeah,
the?
They'll have it. It'll be played through. I'm sure he'll have all the artists in there that endorse these. Will play it. And I got to tell you, I love the way he builds amps because it's old school, and in a lot of ways that's how I am. Things get complicated when you start adding a bunch of mess. So with Little Walter amps, there's no circuitry, no circuit boards. It's all point to point. He even uses cloth wire.
Oh, cool.
And it's just straight amplifier. I mean, everybody has their own taste, and everyone has their own pedal board. So you can use that to adjust whatever you need to. But with this amp, it's going to have Les Paul knobs on it for the volume control and all that.
That's great.
It goes to 12, which I really like.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about the amp is that it never loses its tone, whether it's clean or at its dirtiest. And so it's pretty cool, and I'm super excited about it. So.
That's great, man. Well,
and we're only making 24 out of respect for Duane and of course Barry Oakley, both of them being 24 when they left us way too early.
God, it's shocking that they were that great, that young, and made that much music, amazing music, that quickly.
Yeah, Duane's life is crazy. I mean, he's still inspiring people.
Oh, man. And it's so funny you talk about pedal boards and getting your own signature. Man, those guys, it literally was all in their hands. I mean, they just, Which is, that's how, Derek does it today, and a lot of those guys do today. But then again, if you've got a 57, Les Paul plugged into a Marshall like that, it's hard to mess that up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, man, to all of you out there watching, when you're in Macon or anywhere near it, go to the Big House. It is killer. Just great stories. It'll make you want to leave your life and join a band.
That's right. That's right.
Richard, man, can't thank you enough for joining us.
Thank you.
This is great. And let me hold it. I got goosebumps. I literally have goosebumps holding this guitar. It makes me nervous.
Man.
Until next time.
Don't forget to sign up for PG Perks, your all-access pass to exclusive gear giveaways and discounts on PremierGuitar.com.